Hi, my name is Sade. I'm in my 20s. I've been teaching for a duration of 10 years now. Yeah, this feels like the duration of my life. I've taught ESL abroad in South Korea and China. I've taught here in the States. I'm currently in New York City teaching kindergarten, but I've taught K levels all the way up to 12th grade high school in the ESL world. I've babysat. I've done daycare. I've taught classroom teaching for a couple of years now. Pretty much anything lower elementary I've taught. I had just been doing it for a while. When I was 14, there was a program in New York City called Summer Youth, and you work for the summer. Everybody's hyped. They could get their working papers. They have their own sense of independence. I was working in a daycare kind of camp situation, and I was 14, and I was in charge of 9-year-olds, and I got them to listen to me and follow directions and behave and do what they were supposed to do. And the teachers there, they were like, you have a natural gift. Like, you should really look into teaching. And it was something that I was interested in. And it was just confirmation that that's what I needed to be doing. From there, I went on to tutor, then went on to college where I majored in education and babysat, volunteered until I got further into substitute teaching and working as teacher's assistant to where I am now. Honestly, when I first started teaching, I had all the expectations in the world. I was going to perform miracles. People who came in not knowing nothing, I would be able to change it and mold their whole lives. And I stressed myself a great deal about it and kind of learned that you have to take it as it comes and trust that you are doing exactly all that you can do. Every kid is not going to be a rock star, superstar, A+ student. You just have to grade them on their effort and know that they're trying and be comfortable with the fact that some kids are just not going to try. They're not going to be motivated, and you have to kind of find a way to motivate them and not beat yourself up that they're motivated, because at the end of the day, you can't mandate that they have effort. I tell my students all the time, if you learn nothing from me from the time that I sit in front of you, I hope that you learn how to be a decent human being. Because kids will forget all the math facts, sometimes all the historical facts, but they will remember who you are as a person. And that for me is the biggest thing. Like, I want you guys to be decent, upstanding people that treat people with respect and dignity, and you go out into the world and make that kind of a difference. Whether you remember every single thing I taught you is not super, super important. Give them grace. Like, they're going to have the confidence to learn what they need to learn and get through life. Don't stress them out. Let them go at their pace and learn and acquire the facts in the way that they should learn them. Let them be who they are. You know, a lot of the times students are beaten out of their identity because of you have to be this way, you have to be that way, you have to conform, and that causes a lot of anxieties and a lot of stresses that are not necessarily needed. Oh, I could write a book about this. There's so many disparaging factors in the education system just based on your zip code and where you live and what your earning potential is. So I would definitely equalize funding, that every school, they get the same amount of dollars no matter where they are, because they are tax dollars. But again, they're going to say that I'm a communist, so that might not fly too well where I am as well. Teacher training should be different. When I was in school, they have us writing lesson plans that are 5 pages long per subject. So imagine I'm in elementary, I take maybe 6 subjects a day. You think I'm going to be writing 30 pages a day? Not happening. In addition, I would have the students inside of the schools sooner, because a lot of the times you're not in school with kids until you're in your last semester in your program. And after I have done 3.5 years, I am not changing my major. So I would have freshmen in the schools, seeing what it's like, letting them know, like, this is what you are signing up for. So that if they see that this is not right for them, then they have an out. Because I see a lot of teachers who are in teaching, who they are miserable. They wish they could have did something else if only somebody would have told them. As well, I would like to have some kind of stipend for those student teachers, so it's a little bit more lucrative and motivating, because you're telling somebody that they're going to be the worm of the dust and they're not going to make any money when they're in their career, and as they're studying for their career, they're going to work for free, because when you are a student teacher intern, it's like a job. So you should have some kind of monetary compensation for that, because you are working. And doctors and any other profession, they get that money. So why not treat teachers the same? As well, I would change the respect level for teachers, because I'm sure with people in the pandemic, that now that they have to homeschool their kids, I'm sure they have a greater appreciation for teachers. Especially in this virtual teaching world, like there are just so many. One that is like really popping into my mind. I was in Malaysia on a field trip with my students. They decided to take them to some kind of like petting zoo, and I was not in for it, because I don't really love animals. So I was just like, okay. But I was happy to go through it, because I was in Malaysia and I wanted to see, like how Malaysian school trips were, etc., etc., etc. So we're on the bus and I start to smell something. I'm like, these kids are farting whatsoever. And then it's the end of the trip, so I'm like, okay, we're coming off the bus. And the kids, they're like, Miss Sade, I pooped my pants. I said, what? What? And it was a little boy, so I was like, oh good, I don't have to do it, because I can't go into the male bathroom. So I was like, I'm there because I don't really know. I'm in a foreign country, foreign place. Nobody ever pooped their pants on me on a trip, especially like I had third grade at the time. So these kids are big. They're like 8, 9. I'm not expecting for them to poop their pants. Like, that's baby stuff. So I'm just like, I don't even know. He doesn't have change of clothes, because again too, if it was kindergarten or so, they would have change of clothes. And I'm just like, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to tell you. And thankfully, one of the student aides stepped up and took him into the bathroom, did what he needed to do. I don't know if it was just in the underwear or what happened, but they took care of it and I didn't have to. And I was so grateful for that. I was in a school with a very, very difficult administration. Anything that I did to help the students, I was considered scum of the earth, worst teacher walking, any kind of compassion that I showed the kids. Why are you doing that? That's blah, blah, blah. One of my students, she was a runner. She would run out of the class. She would have tantrums. She would fight people, curse, carry on, you name it, she did it. So that year, my co-teacher and I, we really worked with her on breathing and calming down and thinking through. And she also wasn't doing that well in school because she had so much disruptions due to her behavior. And we were just like, this can't happen, because she's a really bright girl. It's just that she's letting her temper get in the way. We saw some gains throughout the year. She had better behavior. She was, working on herself. And then the next year, her mom saw me on the way to school and she was like, oh, Miss Williams, I just want to thank you for all of your patience, all of your talking, everything that you did with my child, because she really is a different child. Thank you guys for all of your hard work. And that really, 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 really meant a lot, because you don't hear it enough, especially when you're in an administration where everything that you do, you're scum of the earth. Because this girl, I would take her out in the middle of the day. She would just have so much energy. I would just run. We would just run back and forth in the hall till she was tired or till she was not frustrated anymore, so she would go back and do her work. So that's definitely a special moment for me. It definitely let out triggers that I did not know that I had, or that I forgot about. On my last day of teaching, a student really triggered me in a way that I was just in a shock. I didn't even know how to function. Because my sister passed away of asthma right before me when I was a young child. I had to call the ambulance and all that stuff for her. And this child, in the beginning of the week, He flopped down on the ground, and we were just like, we don't believe you. Saying he can't breathe. And we're like, he's always crying wolf. So we were just like, all right, let's ignore him because this is what he does. This is his behavior. I didn't believe him. My co-teacher didn't believe him. The para didn't believe him. But then he was there for a while, and another teacher put eyes on him who didn't know him and was like, no, like this kid needs serious help. So we were like, yeah. Go ahead, take him to the nurse. We felt so terrible for the next couple of days because he didn't show up for a couple of days to school. So we're there fretting like, oh my goodness, we don't know what's gonna happen to this child. So he comes back. That was Monday. Tuesday he's not there. Wednesday he comes in, but there's some kind of discrepancy where the office is saying, like, some people are saying he shouldn't be here. So we don't know if at that time he has COVID or whatever the case is. Then Thursday, before all schools in New York City shut down, because I'm in a charter school, so we closed down before the city. Thursday, he comes in, and the first thing that I see, he is on the floor saying that he cannot breathe. My students that year were a very, very empathetic group. They're surrounding him like, oh, we just want to make our friend feel better. We want to give him a hug. I'm like, guys, thank you. But at this time, if he is indeed unable to breathe, you know, all living things, we know they need water, air, and food. And right now he needs air. So let's move away from him. And having to communicate that to 6 and 7-year-olds, it was very rough. And in turn, to see another 7 or 8-year-old on the ground, potentially saying that they can't breathe, gasping for air, and you're just hoping and praying that the nurse gets there in time. That was one of my most horrific and scary moments of teaching. And I mean, I've been in crisis classroom where kids are throwing things, climbing things. That was probably my scariest moment. And for the rest of the day, I was like zoned out. I didn't know what to do. Like, I was just in a shock for the rest of the day, like in a daze. And then teaching thereafter, we were just all like, we didn't know what to do. We were just like going day to day, like, okay, I guess, you know, this is what we can do, and trying to contact parents and figure out. I mean, now it's a little bit more normalized because we're kind of used to it. So we know how to do our lessons online and just hoping for best, like, and assuming best intent, like, hey, we tried, and we hope that the parents will try just as much and meet us halfway, because that's really all that we can do. I'm much more empathetic towards people in their situations, their backstories, all of that. More open-minded. I definitely have a more willingness to learn and interact with others. Teaching really has changed me. It's made me a better person. And I can't say the same for any other career if it will have that impact.